We all have rhythms in life, right? We have rhythms in music, we have rhythms that we live our daily lives by, when we wake up, when we go to sleep, when we go to sports, we do what we do and we eat. Financial rhythms are something which are extraordinarily important, whether you're a busy professional or a business owner. Arguably, if you're a business owner, these are even more important. But not just in business, personal as well, all right? Because one doesn't exist without the other. What very few people actually have is some sort of a diary or a rhythm behind what they're accumulating in life. And if we have a look at it, basically what is money or what is wealth? It's the accumulation of energy over time. We expend our energy in order to be able to get reserves of wealth, right? So effectively, by not planning out how we're going to distribute or use that energy down the track, we're effectively just heading nowhere really, really quickly, and wherever we end up is going to be by chance, right? So what I'm going to share with you is some of the rhythms that we use. And this can be super, super simple. It doesn't have to be complex. I'd argue that in your life you should have points in time where you're planning for personal events, or you sit down, you plan your own personal year out. We've got different things in and around that and other topics and other videos that if you're interested in, let us know. We'll make sure that we bring them back for you on how to plan your life and how to plan the year and so on and so forth. But there's some really, really simple things that we use with our clients, right? Just very, very simple rhythms that make sense. The reason why I put them this way is so it will make sense for you as well. All right, if we break our year down into 4 different components, right? 4 different time frames. We've got January, April, July, and October. Right, so this is just once a quarter. And it may be just initially having a look and reviewing where you're at and seeing whether that's where you want to be or whether you want to actually be further on than that. And then if you think that you want to be further on than that, then you can just start to figure out, well, where do we need to be? And you can start to ask yourself the right questions, right? You probably start to see just by actually thinking about some of this stuff might calibrate you and start to get you desiring to go into a different place. So set yourself 4 different meeting times a year, 4 different days, set them in the diary and plan ahead to actually just evaluate it on these days, even if it's just over dinner, right? January we use as on track. The reason being is that's the New Year's resolution, right? That's where we have a little bit more time depending on what industry you're in, right? But it's a year where it's the time where most of us tend to reflect, right, and figure out where we're going for the rest of the year. So we do this, and personally I do this with my own personal planning, and figure out financially where do we want to go throughout the year. What are we doing? Are we saving for something? Are we, is it a year of excess? What's the theme for the year from a finance perspective? Are there any carryovers from last year? April, we use this as our tax time, and it makes sense. We want to plan before the tax time comes, right? So you plan your deductions, be a little bit more systematic by it. If you're a salaried employee, understand what all of the deductibles are, right? The various different things you can claim for. So many people leave so much money on the table purely by not claiming the deductions that they should, purely because they haven't spent the time to plan it out, right? We send out tax tips in and around April. The reason why we do it at April as well is because we've got the budget. Right? And if there's any major changes that the budget's going to bring that might impact on you personally, whether you're coming towards that retirement phase or whether you're a business owner and the budget impacts the business, we kind of put those both in the same basket. Just makes sense to do it then, so at least we've got a little bit of time to plan for it and adjust accordingly. July is sort of like it's the new year, right? So a little bit like the on track. We then look at how we're tracking from a cash flow perspective, and we always have a little bit of a look at our super and insurances just to make sure that they're where they need to be and they're calibrating to our desired needs as far as have we got the right amount of insurance. Where is our super sitting? Do we want to make it more aggressive? Do we want to make it less aggressive? In this volatile world, it may be that if you're not looking at it, it can massively change over time. So what is your stance going to be? Help the professionals actually guide where you sit here by being a little bit prepared as to where you want to go with it, right? And then October, it's purely the investment side of the equation. We recalibrate, we have a look at investment markets. Generally, historically speaking, the best months in trading happen between sort of October and March, April, May sort of period of time. I'm not going to go into why, but there are some reasons and some theories why. Right? But that's where we look at, all of the investments that we have. Might be property investments in your personal name, might be super investments, might be share investments, whatever it is, just have a look at it. Where are they all tracking? What debt levels are against them? just to get an understanding. If you can actually stick to this rhythm, which is super easy to do, super simple to do, and it can just be over a dinner conversation, you're going to get a very, very good habit from a financial perspective that's going to serve you really well going forward. You can always build on it into the future. Hope you enjoyed it. Implement your rhythms.